that, or did that go over people's heads?
So it'd be like a CD.
What?
It'd be like a CD.
Like a CD, I think. But none of it can happen until 5 credit unions happen. Now, up in Portland, they're interested in it. The current mayor and the mayor that's running said, well, let's go get it started here in Portland. We would like Ashland to take that same step. That would go into their investment policy. So Ashland investment policies should include the ability for the Ashland to be part of investing in. Once those those 5 cities get in there and it's collateralized, beginning in January 1 of 2013, then public money, that's what they call this, can go into in larger amounts. So it's not just 250,000, but we could be able to then, there's more that cities could do. It's not the biggest thing in the world because there's a lot of investments that are out there that go into federal securities in a lot of places. But it's beginning to say that we want to have a local control, we want to have a local ability to keep our money, and credit unions are a good step in doing this. So let me just see what questions that people might have.
Are there any contracts that the city has with Bank of America that would have to expire in a year from now or something like that?
Yes. So is it about a year from now is when they'll be naturally putting out a new RFP. And so I think we could either ask the city put out a new one now, which they'll probably not too likely to resist, or what we would rather do is say that the city staff should work with the community to develop new criteria so that when it goes out, that we're going to have a new way of evaluating and selecting our banks. You know, maybe if the city council was more liberal, they might say, let's just do it right now and let's get going. But I think that we would get more support if we said, we want the city staff to work with all of us in designing new criteria, working with Barbara Christensen and coming up with a new set that reflects our values and our interest in keeping our money local and making it work for us.
You said 5 credit unions. It's not clear about that. Does it mean 5 cities have to go?
No, it means 5 credit unions.
So 5 credit unions have to be approached to, will you hold our money? And if it was only 4, then nobody could do that?
That's correct.
So we would be number 2 at this place?
No, we would be number 1 if we could do it right away. And we've talked with Rhode Credit Union, and they're willing to move this.
So so we could be number 1, except there's 5, the requirement of 5. I'm not following.
Right.
It's 5 credit unions, not
5 cities. But one city could do all 5. So Portland, if they decided to, they could do all 5 themselves. Probably they got a lot of money. But, or I mean, that's going to be a political decision. But it puts the state of Oregon on the road to putting public money into credit unions and making a difference in our investment policy.
Just one final question about that. It's like, so Ashland needs to put this money into 5 credit unions?
Well,
the number 5 here is Scott McFarland. So if there were 5 credit unions in the whole state that were receiving this money, now we can all do it?
Yeah.
Is that the...
2013, right?
Yeah, starting in January of the year from now.
So not only so Portland could kick this all off by itself?
It could, yeah.
And if we could offer one, we put one in the local...
I think it's what we're building with this is a kind of a political movement. Right. And so, I mean, this was kind of an unknown law. We're just jumping out a little bit. And Barbara Christensen said she was not against it. And we talked to the credit union. And it's interesting. Everybody should know about credit unions, which are nonprofit and run by the board of directors, like a co-op. But they have laws that limit their business loans. So they've been kind of circumscribed by banks. And so they can only make 10% of their loans as business loans. And so consequently, if you really want to help a credit union, your best deal is to go out and pick out a loan with them for cars or for home repairs or any of those kinds of things, but that's how they're going to be able It's not like putting a ton of money in them if they need to be out making their loans. But we need to strengthen that public sector. It's like the state bank. We need public banks. We need socially responsible banks. And if we're breaking down the laws that have circumscribed them, then we're gonna be able to have more democratic control over our financial system.
I'm a little bit confused in terms of the investment account that the city has. So we would not want to place that with the credit union. We would want to place it with a regional bank, take it out of the mega banks.
So,
I mean, that would be the end goal.
no, I think the first thing we can do is in that investment policy is to allow the make sure that it allows the $250,000 right now, and then that
To a credit
union,
Right.
and then that could go on after 213. Rhode Valley Credit Union said in 213 they're willing to go bigger, and so then you can make those decisions. We're still allowing, we're not changing the situation where the treasurer is basically making daily decisions about this. The policies that she's operating under are essentially state policies. And so some of if you want to say that our investment policy says we don't like Bank of America, we can't do it. So, but what we can say is we want the policies to reflect a local preference in Ashland.
So when you go to the city council in Ashland, what is your request going to be of the council? It's not necessarily to move the money at that time, from what I'm hearing you, is to create a community-based, with Barbara Christensen and other people, to make criteria. Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, I mean, so we're saying we want to set in motion what is going to move, and that's every city that's been doing this. They don't just, we're going to pull our money out. They're setting in motion policies that allow them to make those changes, and that's what we're going to do. It's also education with our city council people to know that we as citizens are now paying attention to their policies and that they should start paying attention to them, and that banking local is possible. Now, the particular thing, we talked with the mayor, and we're thinking that the best thing to do is that there would be a motion from the city council person that would say, we direct the staff of the city to work with community groups, us, to devise a change in the investment policies to do that, and to ask Barbara Christensen to work with said group to work out new criteria for the RFP process.
Rich, is Lee Tunenberg involved in this with Barbara Christensen?
He is, yes.
Good. It seems to me that the city has a budget committee made up of responsible citizens. I think we have a friend who was on that budget committee. But why not have a citizens committee to regulate or set up or advise protocol or approve or whatever these investments? Because, you know, right now, there's really no money to be made. Interest rates are nothing. And so it's a question of responsibility, of where the money can be responsibly deposited. And here we've got responsibility on the one hand and wanting it to further common goals of local.
And I think we ought to put that into the ask.
Good, yeah.
But I got to say that so everybody's pretty reflective about the political status of the city council. So we do not have a progressive city council in Ashland. We do not have a council that is going to be welcoming of that kind of thing. But I think we ought to ask and have it out there. I think what we've got from the mayor is a kind of, I'm not going to say what the mayor agreed to, but we have a suggestion from the mayor that the motion could be a winner. And and so the question about forming another commission is going to take us a little longer time to do that. But I agree, I totally, I'm right where, and I think we ought to put it on the table, but we may not get it out of the table at that meeting.
I think our council right now is very local business minded. I don't think they're sort of federal business minded.
Right.
And so I think they might be in favor of this, as long as it fosters local business.
I think it is, and this is, and I'll get right to Emery, is that the point that they rely on, and this is the same thing, we've looked at where they are in Portland, is that the people that are making the decisions now say, we're making the best decisions ever. We're making those decisions that you like, circumscribed by Oregon law. And that's it. End of story. Just go back to where you were at. And so what we're cracking open is that no, there is an opportunity for us to make those changes. So I think the city council likes that banking local. They're told there's nothing that they can do. And we're saying, oh, wait a minute, there are things that you can do, and here's the, what?
And it's Oregon law.
And it's Oregon law, right. And so that's where we're opening the door for change. And Ashland can be the leader, because I thought this would fly in Portland. They're going to get hit with the same status quo up in Portland, and the question is there the political leadership to step forward in all of this? And Ashland could do it.
You don't want to touch on that.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was talking to Rich last night, and from his conversation with the mayor, it's probably not the best strategy to, which would be my tendency, by the way, to hammer on the moral argument for this. The treasurer and the council is, we've said, they're business people. They tend to think in sometimes myopically in payback, in monetary terms. So, penny wise, pound foolish. They're getting a great deal from Bank of America on a monthly basis in terms of the fees charged. So. I think we're better off sticking with the argument that Rich just laid out and not getting on our self-righteous high horse, whatever.
So here's what we can do in a little bit, is we've got a whole bunch of clipboards. We have this petition. I know some people have already signed it. We've got petitions are flowing into the office, but we'd like to reach out to people in our city and say, do you support responsible banking? Because I got to say, it's a great group of people here, but we do not have the power to change the city. The people out there have the power to do it. And what we know is that this is popular. People agree with this. And so we need to reach out to people and say, so can you take a clipboard? We're going to go to Bank of America in a little bit and organize we're out of time for the Bank of America. Where are we with it?
We're at 12:30, so we still have time to go down there.
Yeah, I would say it closes at 1.
We've got 49 minutes.
We have General Assembly here at 2 o'clock. So we have to, whatever we do, we have to be back here, at least some of us have to be back here for that, by that time. So I would appeal to Oregon Action and people, where, if we can go down to Bank of America, we can probably do that now if we're going to do it, and stay there for a little while, and we could appeal to the people who are walking by, or we could go out to the community.
Right, you can go to Shopping Cart or any of those places and just say, let's be part of it. Even if you just got 5 or 10 signatures, you kind of get the practice of saying this is what we're about doing, and reminding people to show up on Tuesday at 7 for sure at the city council meeting.
Is it possible for those of us who didn't know and don't have the time to go with you today, can we have that where we can print it out at home on the computer? And then I can take an hour wherever I can before Tuesday and go get signatures.
Just give her one.
I'll give you some, but I can send them to you on the computer.
Okay, because if we can do that, because we may have to continue.
Yeah, you have
And the other thing is
we
put on there where to turn them in.
Right, it says on the bottom, come in through the mail into our office, bring them to the city council meeting.
necessarily.
So anybody wants to pick up
I'm confused.
So dummy.
From the email that he sent out. And I got it.
Yeah. Okay, you have more friends than you believe. Would you go to Occupy Ashland online, it's occupyashland.org.
OccupyAshlandOregon.org.
OccupyAshlandOregon.org. And it's all one word, OccupyAshlandOregon.org.
To get your form.
To get the form. Thank you so much.
Thank you.